Good evening and welcome. You are watching Vision Rise 24. Tonight's story may shock you, not just because of what happened, but because it challenges the very idea of what freedom and sovereignty mean in the 21st century. Just a few mornings ago, while the streets of Ouagadougou were still quiet and the sun had barely risen, something extraordinary unfolded. In a coordinated mission that lasted only a few hours, 17 different facilities across the Burkinabe capital were simultaneously raided under the direct orders of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Now, on the surface, these places looked ordinary, even helpful. Offices labeled as aid organizations, tech hubs, educational projects, and agriculture support centers. But inside, investigators discovered a hidden world. A world of espionage. Servers humming in dark rooms. Racks of hard drives storing millions of files. Encrypted routers linked directly to overseas networks. When the dust settled, more than 2 million pieces of personal data belonging to Burkinabe citizens had been seized. We're not talking about random names and phone numbers. We're talking about full biometric scans, detailed call records, private medical histories, and even government-level communications. Imagine waking up to find out that your fingerprints, your health details, and even your president's conversations had been siphoned off and sent across the ocean. And here's where the story becomes even more disturbing. Forensic investigators traced many of these digital pipelines back to Israel. For over 15 years, experts now say, Israeli-linked companies have quietly spread across Africa under the banners of development projects and partnerships. But behind the smiling logos and international aid slogans, their servers were not just connecting Africa to the internet, they were copying, intercepting, and transmitting Africa's most sensitive information abroad. Think about it. Maps of gold and diamond reserves. Minutes of cabinet meetings. Personal profiles of millions of ordinary citizens. All secretly harvested, stored offshore, and potentially weaponized. If information is the lifeblood of modern nations, then Africa's lifeblood has been quietly drained for more than a decade. This operation, now codenamed Operation Clearsight, pulled the curtain back on something far bigger than Burkina Faso alone. And experts are calling it a turning point in Africa's struggle for sovereignty. Because make no mistake, this is not about land or armies. This is about digital borders, invisible wires, fiber optic cables, satellite links, and data centers that shape the policies of nations. And if those invisible borders are controlled from abroad, then sovereignty becomes an illusion. Eyewitnesses in Ouagadougou described helicopters circling over districts, unmarked black vehicles stationed outside anonymous buildings, and soldiers removing servers stacked like bricks of gold. Within hours, video clips recorded by stunned citizens began spreading across social media. By midday, hashtags like #OurDataOurChoice and #AfricaNotForSale were trending. But while Africa's social media burned with outrage and pride, Western media outlets were silent. No breaking headlines. No live coverage. Almost as if the story was too inconvenient for international newsrooms to touch. This silence only fueled suspicion. Was this network limited to Burkina Faso? Or is it part of a much wider digital empire stretching across Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, and beyond? To answer that, we need to look at the bigger picture. For nearly 15 years, Israeli firms, often presented as cutting-edge cybersecurity or telecom innovators, have signed contracts across Africa. They promise to improve internet connectivity, modernize telecom systems, and support government digitalization. But inside the very cables and routers they installed, hidden backdoors were planted. These backdoors duplicated entire streams of data, government calls, voter registries, mineral maps, and rerouted them to servers in Herzliya and Tel Aviv. One investigator in Ouagadougou revealed that even cabinet discussions about defense and economic policy had been copied in real time and transmitted overseas. Think about the danger. If a foreign power knows your resource maps, your leaders' private strategies, and the personal weaknesses of your population, then they don't need to invade with tanks. They already control you through code. This is why many African analysts are now calling it digital colonization. Unlike the old colonial empires, no soldiers march on your land, no borders are redrawn on maps. Instead, control is exercised through invisible streams of data. And Operation Clearsight proved that Africa is not powerless. For the first time, a West African nation stood up and said, "Enough." In the days that followed, neighboring countries responded. In Mali, suspected surveillance offices were shut down. In Guinea, military imports linked to Israel were frozen. In Togo, telecom contracts were suspended for investigation. Across West Africa, leaders who normally met to discuss aid packages and foreign loans were suddenly uniting on something else: defending themselves from digital exploitation. Crowds poured into the streets holding banners. Africa is not for sale. Our data, our choice. Digital sovereignty is national sovereignty. Captain Traore himself gave a powerful statement. Standing before cameras, he declared, "Africa is no longer your laboratory. We are not your test subjects." Those words echoed far beyond Burkina Faso's borders. And here's why this matters. Because for centuries, Africa's struggle for freedom was fought with weapons on land against visible enemies. But in today's world, the battlefield has shifted. The wars of tomorrow will not just be fought with guns and tanks. They will be fought with data, who controls it, who owns it, and who uses it. So the question now is, can Africa build digital sovereignty? Can Africa own its own servers, secure its own cables, and control its own information flows? Already, some governments are proposing bold frameworks. No foreign company can operate without full transparency of its hardware and software. All citizen data must remain stored inside African borders. And if any foreign entity is caught spying, their diplomatic cover is removed immediately. These proposals mark the beginning of a doctrine for Africa in the digital age. Just as the Monroe Doctrine shaped U.S. policy centuries ago, Africa may now be writing its own digital independence doctrine. At Vision Rise 24, we believe this story is not just another headline, it's history unfolding right before our eyes. A silent war for Africa's future. And every African citizen, every global viewer has a stake in it. So we ask you, do you believe Operation Clearsight is the moment Africa finally takes back control? Will the continent's digital independence spark a new era of true sovereignty? Or will foreign powers find new ways to tighten their grip? Tell us what you think in the comments below. If your heart beats for Africa's freedom, smash that like button, share this story so the world can't ignore it, and don't forget to subscribe to Vision Rise 24, because here we tell the stories the mainstream won't. Stay with us. This is just the beginning.